What is up, everybody? This is Alex from Traders Retreat. I'm back with say the part two, I guess, from the video that I posted not too long ago. I will process and probably put these out back to back. So check that out. I'll link it. Whether this is on YouTube, it'll be in the description, or on X, it'll be in the comments somewhere. So real quick, I do have a Discord. It's a smaller community, very personalized. It's all about teaching you guys my strategy, but also, working with you just in general on how to manage risk, structure trades, right? Kind of read the market. I mean, this is a foreign language that, we're trying to interpret. And I think a lot of traders nowadays, they have methods that work, they're profitable. I don't diss anybody, but I see a lack of understanding of price action. In a story format, right? In a format that we could all kind of work through. So that's what I went through. That's why the weekly video, the first one, part one here, was a little bit longer, right? Because I wanted to show and really explain the weekly zones. So if you haven't checked that out, go watch that first, come back to this one. I won't spend as much time on the zones here, but so with that said, and at the end of this video, do stay to the end. I will snap on, or I will turn on the weekly zones as well as these monthlies that we're going to build out here, and you'll see how they kind of overlap and what that means. So, all right, let's get into this. This is the SPY 1 month chart, right? We just had a monthly close, so this, the current candle, right? That is this month. All right, just so you are aware, right? 25 days, 16 hours left on that. Again, so this, the last month, right, the month of August, was actually this bearish closing candle, but not looking very bearish here at all, right? I mean, just look at that chart. Even without the zones, this is I mean, when you see a wick down like that, it gets bought back up going into the close, or to close the candle out up here, that tells me that buyers are strong here, right? Yeah, it's a bearish close, but again, setting up more like a bull flag. Some people, obviously I can see even possibly a cup and handle formation that stands out more on the weekly than the monthly. But all that aside, I mean, those are great. Look for those patterns. It's fine, but understand what they mean in terms of, like, when you're structuring, looking at the structure of the charts. What does it mean, right? Why is there both like here, and why isn't it down here, right? We're going to get into that. And I think it's really important to understand, where, I don't want to say just like market makers, or it's not, again, I don't think I'm like better or have a better understanding than like professional traders or professional funds, right? Or algorithms. I don't think it's that at all, but I do have confidence that my strategy, the one that I teach and I share on Twitter, I share on social media for free. You can always DM me or whatever. It's not just hidden behind a paywall, right? If you are interested, check out tradersretreat.net. It'll forward you to the WAP page, and you can get into the Discord. But it's, I give out a ton of stuff for free. I think it's just how you have to it's common sense how you have to interpret this. How do you get signals from it, right? You use the you want to see a candle close. If you want to use zones because it gives you two levels, not just one. It's easier to structure trades. If you're, where do you build that zone from? Well, if you're looking for a candle close, I'm probably going to use a close of a dominant candle, and the other part of that is the open. Those are the two dominant sides. Yeah, wicks are, there's a lot, there's price action in wicks, but I'll be honest, the wicks include, that's where the outliers are. Statistically speaking, I don't really give a shit about the outliers. I want to know where the levels are. And as we zoom in on smaller time frames, what are wicks on the monthly become, candle bodies on the daily, or even the, weekly, whatever, these smaller time frames. So I would rather go to those time frames and get a signal than try to, mess with a wick on a higher time frame. So I'll leave that at that. But going back to how we get zones, right? A couple things, what I want to do here. First, what I want to do with this one, this is a little bit different. All right, so I'm going to go to the replay, and I want to go over to here. All right, so we are coming in, well, not quite to all-time highs, right? Having a ball. I started a little bit later, but let's just do this. All right, boom. As soon as that candle closed, I'm looking for demand zones below for pullbacks, right? What do I have? I have this candle right here, bearish candle. This is the lowest bearish closing candle, right, on the monthly, going back consecutively, in this area of price interaction, of price action, okay? The next bearish closing candle down here, right? So let's just snap a line here. I'm gonna have to change the color probably. Oh, no, you know what? I'm gonna leave this dotted because this does go away. So just bear with me here. Just want to show you guys kind of where this comes from, right? We're not going to go through the whole replay here, but this is, this is a demand zone at the time. So let's do this just a little bit. Yeah, whatever, good enough. All right, orange is monthly. I color code it that way, no matter what time frame I'm on, right? If I'm on the 1 hour and I see an orange dotted line, I know that, hey, it's a monthly. If I'm not sure exactly, I can just immediately zoom out to the monthly, check it out, see what's going on. All right. And when I see something like that, am I at the month's close? Am I near it? Right. Or better yet, these individual or the intermediate time frames. If I see blue, I know it's a 1 hour zone. But if I see a gray zone, I know it's my dailies, right? Daily time frame. That makes a difference depending on what time of day it is, right? So I want to know what am I coming up on a bigger signal from a larger time frame? Because it's all fractal. It all it's all representing the same thing. It's not like there's different liquidity pockets. The liquidity is where it is, but how do I get a signal based off of that? And we see, again, proof is in the pudding. This shit works time and time again. All right, so just keep in mind, this is where that was. Let's just play that out at 10x. Actually, this thing will fly through just for a minute here. See how this is where we're forming all-time highs, right? See how that zone is holding as demand, right? Boom, boom, boom. Continue to holding as demand, right? You can see it happening until we get that candle. And I just want to show you this real quick. All this held as demand, as far as candle closes go, right? Until we got the close below. All right. And I talk about this all the time. This is our signal. This would be a bearish monthly signal. And we actually just caught this on the weekly. And, this was, that's why I made so much money on the way down, even though I lost money initially. I got caught off guard when Facebook dumped, but before it was Meta. But anyways, this is the bearish close below. That's your signal. Now I wait for a retest to get short. A retest of what? A retest of the liquidity that was just not invalidated, but that I got the signal off of. And what does it do? I mean, you can't make this shit up. Well, maybe you can, but whatever. That means I've been making it up for a long fucking time. Where does that circle go that just disappeared behind my candles? Doesn't matter. I'm going to delete it here in a second, but you see where that wick center is, you guys? Right there. What is that? That is, what's that? The high. So the high is 429.66. What's that? 429.14. We just saw this in the other video where the weeklies, wicking down to support, right? This is shit that everybody should be using. And honestly, if people don't, that's fine. I don't think I'll ever have so much influence that like so many people would be using this that they would like change the game or anything. I don't even know if they could, but whatever, right? Until that point, let's spread the word and share this and get it out, because we see this shit all the time. That's your short entry. Risk to reward, right? Are you going to go all the way up to here? Probably not on the, maybe on the monthly, you'd give it all of it. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to. You could have it come up, you go on the smaller time frames, you find where your stop is. It didn't matter in this case. As soon as you tested that liquidity, where the bulk of it is, they stepped in and slammed it down. And that tells me that there is smart money. There's large quantities of money following these, these liquidity zones. That's it. It's key. I don't really care about the rest, right? I just want to follow the whale. I want to be on the backs of the whales, cash in as much as I can and walk away. Really unknown if possible. To a certain degree, obviously I put my face out there, but yeah, whatever. I'm not scamming anybody, right? This is price action. Anybody can do it. I think everybody should be doing it. All right, let's get out of this replay. Keep in mind that zone. That's a little side rant, but I love it. I forget about these things. And then you see it. Look at how many times this thing retested. Retest there. Boom. Big time, right? Cash in. Heading down towards that zone I was talking about. That is a demand zone. I'm not going to mark it out because it doesn't matter right now. But came down, bam. And then 1, 2, 3 months later, right? What did we do? We pushed up again and retested that again. That's why, I was all over this area on SPX. But again, when we retested that, got short like crazy again, because on the smaller time frames, even it panned out. You don't even have to wait for the signal again. This is worth risk to reward. This is worth getting short again up here. And then, hey, if you stop out and you're wrong, it's probably because we're bullish and we're heading up. It didn't happen yet, right? Finally happened over here. But all right, keep that in mind, right? This was an invalidated demand zone. We do see retests, and on these larger time frames, the residual effect of this liquidity pocket can go on for a while. So just keep that in mind, and that's what you're seeing. This is a new month. So last month was August, and this was July, right? July's close was key. It's when I was bullish before that, right? I was not bullish down here, guys. I missed. I was late. honestly, into once we had the weekly candle that really pushed us up here, in real time, I like switched bullish. I remember putting out to the members of the Discord. I think I even put it, I talked about in spaces for sure, if not a tweet. But was that, that was kind of the pivot level. It's like I'm still going to be short because I haven't gotten the signal unless it slams through, and it slammed through to the upside. So with that in mind, right? Lots of bullish price action. What happened? We finally closed above this. So this is no longer a retest zone. You see what I'm saying? Like price continued up and we actually got the close higher, because every time we've come up to retest this, let me say every time, we've only done it a few times on the monthly, but we came up, we could not get a close back above. You gapped up and opened here for the monthly, but then sold off. Retest, rejection. Even this pushed up kind of close, right? Couldn't, indecisive as can be. This big bullish push closes inside of it. That's a good sign, right? But boom, this is the first time we closed back above this liquidity zone. Very important. And then the follow through is this. Now, I would have loved to see this last month close above this 450, 256, but that's okay. Nothing is that easy, especially on the monthly. Like you can't, we have to have some sort of consolidation and reset, the balance here. It's a healthier market this way, but look at what happened, right? As soon as you get down towards the bottom of where we know there's this big liquidity, buyers stepped in and bought this shit up. Now on the weekly, it makes a lot of sense because we see the demand zone, but hopefully you guys understand the fractal nature here. And once I pop up the weekly and monthly zones together, it'll make more sense. So, all right, so that's a bullish indication. Plus it looks like a damn bull flag. All right. I'm going to turn this down so it's not so bright, but if I don't make it like disappear or anything, just stay with me, guys. We're not going to stay. I'm not going to rant too much here. That is an old zone. So where are the new zones, right? Because even though this is an old zone, it represents liquidity. I'm not trying to get a signal off of these levels anymore. I just want to know that they're there. So where is the highest bullish candle close that we're approaching? Well, here's the highest bullish close here. Okay. If I go to the left, okay, it's over this candle. Well, it's this candle, right? I won't drag it on, but I do want to walk, hopefully it helps to walk through like the process. And I just see these. The only reason I mark my charts up so much is because I share them on social media or with the members. I mean, I've had a Discord. I had a non, just invite only. No one paid anything, but it was invite only for since the pandemic. It was just since we started doing spaces. What was that, year and a half ago now? Maybe it was 2 years ago, but when I started getting into spaces on Twitter, people were like, hey, do you have a Discord, do you have a service, whatever. So we eventually opened it up. All right, so what are we seeing here, right? This is the supply, and this is always the supply, and it's confirmed by this candle right here. Now granted, the close stayed inside of this, so if you just saw this and I just puked it out on you, you'd be like, man, there's too many signals going on. But it makes sense if you follow the story. If you had been charting this way since we're in the all-time high run up, you would have seen these zones play out and it would have made more sense, right? You got to think that way. You got to kind of go back in time because you weren't charting this way from the very beginning and walk through the process. This is where sellers are going to be sitting. And there's a weekly, you can zoom in, obviously it's all-time highs, right? People are like, oh man, I'm getting sketched out. Well, yeah, we're approaching literally all-time highs. I mean, we're pretty fucking close. You think there's going to be some profit taking and selling? I hope so. I don't think they're going to really blast us right through without any resistance, but so that's where we want to see price test that zone, right? We want to see price interact with that liquidity, but at that level, we're at these zone levels, and we haven't seen that yet. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. This bullish push here only came up to where my cursor's at, right? That did not test. It got close. We're inside that liquidity. I mean, liquidity is all around this level, but as far as the signals goes, we haven't seen that. And what past experience has taught us and taught me is that when you get close, but you don't test it, and then you get some consolidation, what I'm expecting is a bullish push at some point. Again, these are monthly candles. It could be next month, not September. It could be October or November. You just don't know, right? Like I said, that last video, we could come down, come back up, and then you just don't know. Keep that in mind. But things do look bullish. This looks like a bull flag. I expect price to at least come up and test this. And because there is a weekly zone, and I'll pop those on right now, and then I'll show you that from the weekly perspective as well. Just bear with me. All right, so that's the weekly zones from the previous video. We're still on the monthly chart, so just keep that in mind. But the thing is, because I know there's the monthly chart here, and I would watch out if price goes up and tests 461.64. I don't expect you to wait till the end of September, just to see how things played out, right? But you can watch the weekly and the daily closes, right? That gives us a much shorter time frame to have to wait. Watch what happens. But I do think we're going to probably attempt, or at least get pretty damn close up to this 472.06. I've been saying this for a while after this big push. I mean, if we, because there was so much, this again on the monthly, you guys just keep in mind, like, not to go too sidetracked here. I promise I won't. But that is right. That was the monthly resistance that we held under forever. That's 412.93. It's basically 4150 to 4200. It was 4150 though. It was the big number on SPX. So we just kept on staying underneath it until this month closed above, right? That was April. And that was the big game changer, in my opinion. So anyways, I'll delete that, but hopefully that makes sense, right? Like you can see we did not get a monthly close above that level until boom, we hit it here. And then what did we do? We retested, right? We retested the liquidity. Yeah, we went a little bit lower, but it doesn't matter. Like price retested it, buyers stepped in, slammed it up. You don't think there was a ton of people shorting it here? You're out of your mind, right? But buyers stepped in. Smart money said, nope, we're bringing it up. And they did. Once they got that weekly close back above, fucking algos kicked in, fund managers kicked in, retail kicked in. If you think they moved the market, which they don't, and boom, push us up, and that's it. You can read the story in the charts, guys. That's what I'm trying to get across, on top of the fact that going into this new month, this new week, we know what we're going to look for, right? We know that, hey, we got above this, this big area of liquidity on the monthly that, yeah, we're coming back into it. So watch out. We'll learn something if we sell off hard, and if we get a weekly close below 433.21. right? We'll learn something at that point. I'll say, hey, we're probably going lower. We're probably going to go down to these lower levels again. I don't think that's going to happen until I see something change on the charts. So let's just look at the weekly real quick. But with the monthly charts up, and you can kind of get an idea. Remember what I was saying about this level here? Look at that weekly candle right here. This little doji whatever candle, kind of fat bodied doji. That's an indecisive candle. That's what that represents, right? You don't even have to be a candlestick expert, but like, what does that mean? It means we pushed up, we opened, we pushed up, we pushed down equally, basically to the ratio of where we closed at. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit longer wick on the bottom. That's, and it closed bullish. So that's a bullish, definitely a bullish sign. But I guess my point is that happened right at when it was retesting this huge monthly area liquidity that had been rejected time and time again. So, it makes sense if you think about it fractally and you walk yourself through the story. That's what I want everybody to do here. That's why this video and the one before it are exceptionally long. It doesn't benefit me at all to do that, because that's, I get way more views and more, impressions, but, YouTube likes it better, especially if I can just bam, keep attention spans, but you don't learn jack shit, right? That way. That's why our classes go on sometimes for an hour and a half, sometimes more, sometimes they're 50 minutes, it's fine, whatever works. I try to accommodate. I mean, I have my life, and when shit comes up, it is what it is, right? That should be for everybody, but the majority of the time we're grinding, trying to, figure this shit out and make money, because it is life-changing, and this works, and it is, something you can do calmly and consistently. And yeah, it's not the only strategy. There are other things that we look at. We look at selling options, trade a lot of commons, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what what vehicle you're using. You still need to understand what the chart is doing, and this is how we do it. So, all right, guys, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully it was enjoyable. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out tradersretreat.net if you're interested in joining the Discord. I will put this out on Twitter and YouTube separately, but do check out both, right? So it's Traders Retreat on YouTube, and then obviously on Twitter or X, it is at Traders Retreat. So you'll see the bowl symbol that's behind my head. Well, over here, you'll see that bowl. Anyways, you'll probably see it when you see this video. But yeah, hopefully that helped. Leave your comments to your questions. Feel free to leave it publicly or DM me, hit me up. And that's the other thing. If you join the Discord, I offer everybody. I'll sit down with you for an hour, right? A session, or we could do it in a couple of sessions if people want to. And I can at least give you some insight onto how I would I'd look at your situation. and we can go through things. I mean, I'm literally open to that. I mean, I respect people's privacy, obviously. It's totally up to the member, but it's something that I do offer. So, you know, again, we try to make it personalized, and it gives us a chance to actually have a conversation, right? So, all right, guys, have a great night. Keep your eyes open. You know, the targets I talked about this are really in the first video, but again, there's no reason that can't see us pushing up to 472 before we get I can see us pushing up there, double top, really pulling back hard, possibly all the way back down, you know, maybe towards this level down here. Maybe at that point it would be around the 430s on SPY. That's just a guess. Who knows, right? We could push through, but what I will be waiting for, right, to get the signals is I will be watching the weekly closes above the zones I have. So if we close above that, you know, basically 475, we get a weekly close above. I'm going to be pretty leaning bullish, right? I'll be cautious because, yeah, we're at all-time highs, but that's giving me a signal. And then if we get a monthly close above, again, basically 475, because that is the top of the monthly supply, you bet your ass. I mean, I'll be waiting for a pullback because I do think it'll retest pretty deep, but again, I'll be buying the shit out of it. So, you know, stay tuned. I'm sure I'll share it publicly, but if you want it privately, fucking come join the family because they're pretty good people. So we have a lot of fun. All right, guys, have a great night. Peace out.